All right, yo. Yeah, man. Conversations with Cass, right? My name's Daniel Noble. People call me Casper. A couple. They call me a lot of names. A couple to my face. Um, but as to why I'm doing this, like people said, why are you doing the podcast? What's up with it? Something I've kind of had in the back of my mind for a while, right? But why now? And the reason as to why now is I'm currently going to school, right? Um, my past, I come from drugs, right? Drug abuse, addiction, a lot of trauma. I'm a big advocate for therapy, everything about it, right? And conversations are something I have realized really help me when I'm really going through it. Is conversations with people, right? And I know my mind's a little bit everywhere. So why now, right? Why now? Because I'm going to school, right? And going to school at 30 is a little different, right? Because in my mind, I'm still an 18-year-old kid, right? But I go around 18-year-olds now at 30, and I'm like, oh shit, my perspective shift. I look at things differently, and right, I have a little bit more experience. And what perspective is knowledge coupled with experience. So the more I experience, the more I learn, the more I know, the more sensitive, if you will, the perception becomes for me. So I'm starting a podcast now because fuck it, I want to, right? And a lot of people tell me I'm interesting. Not so much me interesting, but my thoughts, I guess. At least the ones I'm willing to share, right? So between conversations with Kaz and basement banter, I don't know what the podcast is going to be called, honestly. However, I'm in the process. I'm just got some stuff to record better, so I don't have to go to the studio and don't have to do it like this. I don't even know how this is going to come out. I just click record on my laptop. Um, but yeah, right. The basis behind the podcast is to provoke self inquiry within yourself, whoever's listening, within myself. A reference for me to go back and listen to like certain conversations that I'm gonna have because like there's a lot of dope shit I got coming, man. From hip hop artists to professors at school to um, people with like just a unique, not unique, just interesting perspective on things, interesting conversations, right? Because like when I meet somebody, right, I don't care about your favorite sports team. I want to know, I want to know your pain, right? Because like when I know your pain, I can understand you. Um, so it's like this bigger picture of like unification, right? Not uniformity, but unification within us, and realizing there's no separation. Um, and delving into these questions that like school society doesn't teach us. Like, who are you? What's your purpose here? Um, and the ill thing about that is like it's a double edge because once you go down that rabbit hole, right? You find out through the more you know, the more you realize you don't know shit, and like there's some things that maybe just maybe you shouldn't have went down that rabbit hole. So dropped the podcast a couple weeks ago, right? A lot of people support me. A lot of people thought it was dope. Now there were certain things like moving forward, right? Like I'm gonna have a fact checker, so I'm not just gonna spew shit out. Moreover, allowing people to finish their thought because as I listened back to it, there's a lot of times I was almost cut off. Not cut off, but it was just the flow of conversation. But it also just like podcasting is a little different, right, than regular conversation. Because regular conversation, who gives a fuck, right? But with this, like, I want whoever's on the podcast with me to finish their thought. As for me to finish my thought, and also do something that's different is listen to understand rather than listen to reply, right? Um, because that is really where growth happen. Like I'm all about growth. I'm all about positivity now. Like I wasn't always this way. I used to be a negative Nancy. I used to be a Debbie Downer. I used to be that guy. And I lived it, right? Like I lived everything that came with it. Everything that came with drugs and just that negative lifestyle. And like we're assholes or we're great is whatever we tell ourselves, which is fucking dope. So like if you're having a bad day right now, yo, you could switch it like with a snap of a finger. It's not so much like I don't have bad days no more. I have bad moments, right? And anybody that knows me and knows me from where I came from coming from that jail bullshit, from drugs, from just bad decisions and bad people and bad places doing bad things. Finally like got a little bit of the of the picture, right? Um, but yeah, I just wanted to. I don't know how long I'm gonna do this podcast right now, um, because like I have a lot on my mind. Right, it's coming toward the end of semester. I'm doing good in all my classes. Like there's some shit, math, but my English shit, I got there was three papers. I got an A, then a B, then an A. I passed the class, needless to say. Um, but like, yo, when I was going to school, like kindergarten through 12th grade, man, I never, I never wrote an essay. I mean, granted, I didn't even go to school in high school, right? Like, I was always cutting class. Yo, matter of fact, my parents were so cool. I mean, this just goes to show how much parents like just love their children, right? Because I went to this like psychiatrist, psychologist, whatever, and got this note stating I had school phobia, bro. So I didn't have to go to school. So I would get homeschooled. Like teachers would come to the house. Shout out to Mr. Albert, man. Mr. Albert from Patchogue Medford High School, best history teacher ever. And really shifted, man. Really taught my mind beyond the scope of school, and allowed me to. I wouldn't say allowed me, but push the whole notion of like thinking out of the box, um, which is awesome, which is something I think teachers should do, right? Like I have my English professor this semester, she kind of did that. Like the topics she picked were like just dope topics, like mindfulness, happiness, um, and really like gave this introspectiveness as to how do we value happiness as a society, right? And like our happiness things, and like what I come to find out through doing this happiness research for one of my classes, right, is, and I got an A on it, is that there's like this stage, right, where there's kind of like four stages. Like the first two are very extrinsic, as to where like you think if you got that job, that girl, that car, that thing, that whatever that thing is, whatever that is for you, that you'll be happy, right? And you know what? Not saying shit like that can't, it could contribute to your happiness. However, once you get things like that, money, whatever it is, you realize that happiness isn't a destination. It's a journey. Happiness is now. Happiness you could tap into goes back to having that good day, bad day. Like I don't have bad days, I have bad moments. Like, all right, now let's change it. And happiness is something that's real. Like there's something real when it comes to I think it was Einstein that said, or Tesla, one of them motherfuckers, said like life or the world is about vibrations, frequencies, and like waves and energy or something like that. And like, yo, that's totally, totally real. Cause like, yo, if you wake up having a bad day, right? It seems everybody else you encounter that day is having a bad day, right? But if you wake up happy, even if people aren't happy, right? you could almost kind of bring that force of happiness, which is amazing. So yeah, they even did studies as to where like they checked the molecular structure of like water, right? 2 cups of water, they put hate on one and love on the other, and like the water molecules reacted differently to intention. Um, and so if it works on that level, like there's no, come on, you don't think it could work on a better level? And that's what's crazy. Like as above, so below. And yo, this podcast is gonna delve into things about like hermetic text. Which is 7 principles of hermetic Hermes, right? He wrote this text, Kabbalah or something like that, Kabillion, some shit like that. Anyway, Hermes is Thoth, and any incarnations of him. This is just a theory, but this is the type of stuff I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about, of course, an occasional conspiracy, but more like philosophy wise. That's really where I'm going with this. And because I believe in this thing called turtling. All right. And there's this thing, I call it turtling. From the moment we come out our parents' wombs, right? Everything is external from us. We look for everything outside. We need everything outside of us for survival. So it's normal to think happiness and love and all this shit is outside of us. Until you learn to turtle, right? And like a turtle spends more time in the shell than outside. And we, as Westerners at least, really don't do that. However, I do believe there's a change as to where people are being more quote unquote hashtag woke. But within that becomes this mainstream woke, which I don't really, wouldn't say I really agree with it. Anyway, listen, man. Conversations with Kaz, basement banter. I don't know. Maybe just the Daniel Noble show. Who the fuck knows? But I do know I'm gonna be consistent with it. I'm gonna try. There's gonna be like upgrades along the way. I'm in the process of getting my teeth fixed, so I want to do video, but I also, not because I think people will care, but because I care, right? And I care about me today, which is big, right? The only thing I used to care about was like where I was gonna get my next high. You know, people that know me when I was in that shit, they'll fucking tell you. I was crazy, man. I swear to God, I was crazy. I probably, I probably still am a little crazy. Hold on. Yeah, I definitely still am crazy, man. Um, but it's good crazy. Yo, so also this podcast is like gonna be for people in recovery, right? Because I'm a true believer in therapy and recovery and different avenues of recovery, right? Um, if anybody's struggling with addiction, right? The first thing you go to rehab and they tell you go to AA meeting, go to NA meeting. Um, Now the philosophy of that, right, is that there's these 12 steps. Whichever program you go to, do steps, traditions, and concepts. If you're really gonna do it, anyway, the steps. Each step has spiritual principles behind it, as well as the traditions. Traditions help me from killing you, and steps help me from killing me. That's what they say, and all this shit. Anyway, it's a subculture back in the culture, is what I believe, and but it gives you a guideline to live your life by, right? Same thing with follow me here. Same thing with religion. Different sects of different religion. Like there's these instructions to live your life by, um, or to operate your life by, right? And in recovery, the modality would be do steps. Civilization for the uncivilized mind, if you will. um, it gives you principles to live your life by, which is something everybody needs. not everybody has learned this, right? So people in recovery have this way to do that. They have this avenue to go down through going to AA, NA, Refuge Recovery, which is a Buddhist attempt on it, right? Now, what about people that aren't addicts, right? They deserve something too, right? So there's all different areas for them to go. And there's this thing that goes on within that, right? Whether you're an addict or not listening to this, is to where we get to this point in life as to where we really figure out who the fuck we are, right? Um, and a lot of it's through learning, right? And a lot of it is through asking questions and looking for the conversations, because like if there's a name for it, somebody's been through it. I don't know. I don't know. See, this is why I need somebody else with me here, because my fucking mind just goes. I know what I'm talking about. I know it all makes sense in the moment sometimes, or maybe I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. But usually I know I make some sort of sense in the moment. Sometimes you just got to follow it, you know? So, yeah, man. I hope everybody will support this. I hope you all give your feedback. I want your feedback. Um, and I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep on going, right? This is just like a little clip, little 20-minute clip joint. But to let you know, oh, so this is the goal why I'm going to school. Might as well throw that out there. I got this. My goal really is, I mean, I want to be financially, you know, secure and shit. I'm single. I do want to have a wife and kids one day. That I would love that. Because I hang out with my niece. My niece is 5. She's my fucking best friend. She is my best friend. Um, but whatever the universe has come my way has come my way. But yeah, I'm going to school. I want to open up this therapeutic center, right, for people that struggle with addiction and mental health, certain mental health disorders, as to where you could get like alternative treatment and therapy rather than one modality. I do believe that there are certain psychedelics that can help. Um, Shit, man, Bill Wilson, the founder of AA, actually, he experimented with LSD. Now, whether or not he got a spiritual experience from that, I don't know.